Okay, it says, okay, it's recording now. Hello, folks. I'm here with Master Daniel Pesina, who was not only the original Johnny Cage, but also Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Reptile, Smoke, and Noob Saibot in the first two games. And allow me to be the first of many Mortal Kombat fans to say thank you for doing this interview and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I believe the first question I have is how did Mortal Kombat first come to be?
Actually, first came to be, I would say, just because of connections. My brother is an artist,
Mm-hmm.
and when he was in high school, he hung out with some friends who drew together, and one of those guys was John Tobias. And I would sometimes watch them draw, and because me and my brother are close, and I like to collect comics, and I'm a geek. Sometimes all of us would go to like the movies or the arcades together, or even play Dungeons and Dragons together. So that's how I came to actually first know John Tobias. Then after I did finish doing stunts for the movie Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, John called me up and he asked me if I could help pitch a game idea to Midway, to the company that he worked for. He said he recently got off a game that did pretty good, and that he had an idea about doing a live fighting game. But he had some drawings, and he wanted to know if we can help him do it because it would be a relatively small project. 200 arcade cabinets would be the limit of that project. So I was like, sure. And we were just talking about the game and stuff like that. And, basically, I would be helping him try to create this game. And in exchange, I could use it for like credits for my acting career. And, since John didn't know martial arts, I would be doing the choreography for it, figuring out the martial art moves for this video game. So we got together. We kind of snuck into Midway. He didn't want anybody to know about his ideas until he made his presentation. So myself, Carlos, and Rich, who's Raiden and Kano, met with John Tobias late at night because we were going to record some moves, choreography, and stuff like that. And he was going to take this videotape and the drawings he had and present that to Midway Games, to first start it, see if they liked the idea. So that was the very, very beginning of it.
And at first, it was supposed to be like a game based on a project by Jean Claude Van Damme, right?
No, that is actually incorrect. That's more of like
Like they originally wanted Jean Claude Van Damme.
yeah. That idea came later because after John made his presentation, he called me up and he's like, "Hey, they Midway wants to hear more ideas about the game." Before I was like, "What's up?" And then that's when he told me, "Oh, there's another idea for a different fighting game." So I'm going to say that John's idea for a fighting game, Mortal Kombat, was before the Jean Claude Van Damme game because we had to make a videotape of fighting and stuff like that. So if they already had an idea for a fighting game, I would not have to make a videotape to show them a fighting game, because they already had the idea. So that's why I say that that statement is probably incorrect, and naturally, everybody can have their opinion on it, but they wouldn't need me to show them what a fighting game was if they already had the idea. So that is when later on I found out that our game Mortal Kombat was canceled. I had a meeting with Ed Boon, talked about the game of what we wanted in the game, and I think Ed wanted to go with his idea and said no to Mortal Kombat and go with his idea uh, of the Jean Claude Van Damme game.
And yeah, were you one of the original people who came up with Scorpion and Sub-Zero?
Actually, the
With
con-
that
actually,
strictly,
yeah, actually the concept, the names, we didn't have names when we were creating it, but John did, like, because John was like, I really need your help making the game. We could take any idea you want and put it in the game. And then that's when I told John, I was like, we need to change the Japanese ninja into the lore of the Lin Kuei. And John was like, what is that? And so I told him about the lore of the Lin Kuei and how they were Chinese, like ninjas, vagabonds, and they used sorcery and black magic supposedly to cross into their Chinese ninja arts. So I was like, they dress completely different than Japanese ninja. It's kind of like what Noob Saibot looks like would actually be
Mhm.
the proper look of this Lin Kuei. And John was like, well, when we talked about it, John was like, well, I'm going to have to have some color to it because having a person dressed in black against a background might not show up well. So John is the one who added the color of yellow to basically Scorpion. And at one time there was only one ninja, Lin Kuei. It was going to be Scorpion.
And then it became 2, and then it became 3, and
Yeah,
it grew from.
yeah. When we ran out of time because of the length it took to create the game, because when I showed up to help John create find a pathway to the game, John had a sheet of paper, and all it said was high, medium, low on it. And so when we looked at it, he was like, "Okay, He basically put me in front of his father's camera and was like, "Okay, do some strikes to the head." And we just started filming stuff, and we did that for like 6 days, like 8 hours a day, to create like a pathway to the game. After we did those 6 days, we invited Ed to come in to take a look at what we had, so he can give us a hint, like see what he thought and how we can make the movement fit into a fighting game. Like he had like uppercuts and side kicks and different stuff. And Ed came in, and he helped us figure out what he explained, like the whole way you make a video game with the hitboxes and how the movement should be for a game. So then we went back to work and started trying to create a bigger base for that.
Yeah, because back then Ed was just a programmer.
Well,
So he would.
Ed was the boss of the game, so he was more than just a program. He was the boss. He's the guy that we tried to originally pitch the game to, who met with us, myself, John, Carlos, and Rich. So he was more than that. And then he's the boss of Mortal Kombat. And
Yeah,
I always say that John Tobias is the creator of Mortal Kombat, and Ed Boon is the boss of Mortal Kombat.
yeah, like kind of like Ed is like the Shao Kahn for like in regards to
Yeah.
hierarchy.
Yeah. He's the guy he was the guy.
And,
Yeah, when we were filming and creating the game, often we would call him in his office because he spent a lot of time in his office, just doing other work, to buy us dinners or lunch or something like that because he was the boss, he's the manager, he's the one with the corporate credit card.
yeah, and let's see here. What are your thoughts on the current portrayal of the characters that you played in the earlier games? Like, what are your thoughts on the portrayal of Johnny Cage versus Scorpion and Sub-Zero? And
Yeah, my thoughts on that is, Johnny Cage went through a lot of changes. Some of them probably more just because of the politics between myself and Midway were happening for a while, and then the story has to change. It has to evolve. It has to grow.
Mhm.
So there's with the portrayal of the characters, it's still a base. It's still I I basically co-created Scorpion and co-created Sub-Zero and co-created Johnny Cage. So, anytime there are iconic moves and characters. So when another actor steps in to do the role, it's awesome to see it because basically they're acting like me. They're acting what
Mhm.
I created. So it's awesome. It's always cool to see guys doing that, and I'm looking forward to the new movie to see somebody else who take a hand at of acting in something that I created. So
Yeah.
I'm looking really forward to it.
Yeah, like Joe Taslim playing Sub-Zero and Hiroyuki Sanada playing Scorpion.
Yeah, yeah,
And we don't
yeah,
know
yeah,
if at all Johnny is going to be in it.
yeah. I don't know, but again, maybe they'll have a second movie and he'll be in it, but or when you
Mhm.
buy the movie rights or when you have the movie rights, you get to kind of change whatever you want to do. Not all, it doesn't turn out well all the time, but it is you got to do your vision. I'd like to see,
Yeah.
yeah, I would like to see something created by Tobias since he's the real creator, like the visual
Hmm.
creator of Mortal Kombat, and see what he would come up with. That would be something really, really cool to see.
Mm. Who was your favorite character that you portrayed?
It would definitely be Johnny Cage, just because not only because he looks me, but because we created the game with him. Like there was no other characters or anything like that before Johnny Cage. He's the father of all MK characters. So all the things you see, even when we were pitching the game to Ed, we talked about X-rays. We talked about when we were creating a game, we came up with tag teams. We came up with secret characters. We came up with all this stuff. We came up with three fatality concepts of three fatalities. In Mortal Kombat 1, we wanted three fatalities for each character. We wanted to try to do weapons. We tried to do all this stuff, but just the technology wouldn't let us do
Yeah,
that.
because it was very limited at the
Yeah, it's really, really limited, but all those ideas, and
time.
all those ideas and concepts, are the creation and the vision kind of when you're doing stuff, and then taking that, and I understand, like, to program our ideas took hours, but it's
Hmm.
the inspiration. It's the, oh, we want to do this, and then the team working together, collaborating. Oh, I'm going to create that. I'm going to help you create that. Is so awesomely cool with Mortal Kombat. It's
Hmm. Mm. Do you think that there is still a place in the Mortal Kombat games for real martial artists?
Well, for sure, the first two games needed real martial artists, and then when I look at it, it moved away from being a martial art tournament. You have guns and you have like that. When you're a martial artist, you don't need that. You don't need to have a gun to have an advantage. And two, being a martial artist has a lot to do with ego and to prove yourself. So you don't pull out a gun. Martial artists wouldn't pull out a gun. We fight with either our bare hands and stuff like that, or even if it was allowed, even if the other side agreed, then I would let them bring out a weapon. But them shooting each other and stuff like that is no longer the old Mortal Kombat. That's more of the newer Mortal Kombat, whatever is going on with them. And again, they own the rights to it. They can change it. But for me, I like the martial art part of Mortal Kombat, like the first two games.
Yeah, like well, I think Kano said it in the original movie. Um, like like he believes in a fair fight. You know, one on one, hand to hand, like man to man, hand to hand, just
Yeah,
like his daddy.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, that's the real thing. All having these you know, extra things, or having people who don't know martial arts. I'm not too keen on that.
But the good thing about the current games is that um, Tony's son is now Kung Lao in the games.
Yeah, yeah, he does some move for Kung Lao. I have some students who do it, who work on the games. A bunch of students. My brother still works on the games doing the
Yep.
move. So yeah, it that part is pretty cool. You know,
Yeah,
to
the legacy still lives on.
Yeah, yeah. Well, too, it's like when I watch even when I watch them see the background, I see stuff that I came up with, to
Hmm.
solve problems when we were having the game. It wasn't just like we were just acting. Different things would come up, and then I'd have to find a way to overcome the obstacles, and if John had an idea, I would try to like manifest it. And that way, it would come across better.
Let's see here. What do you like most about being a part of the franchise?
I like the memories, to tell you the truth. I think that's too, why I like to go to events and things like that and meet friends who are are fans of the game and just talk about Mortal Kombat and how it was when they were playing it, and then what was going on with how we created it with a group of friends, and a lot of the way we created different things in the game are like through friends goofing around. Example, like when I came up with the kiss of death for Sonya, I created that. When I was telling Liz what to do, she looked at me and she was just like, "Why do I have to kill somebody? Why can't I just be their friends? Why can't I just give them a flower?" And we all laughed really, really long. But later on, the friendship idea came from that. And in Mortal Kombat 2, the friendship, one of the characters gives another character a flower, and that's all from the original, or the Sonya who created Sonya. So she's not even like the first Sonya. She is Sonya. The leg crab move. She created that. She wanted to do that. She created different things. So the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th Sonya are actors, but you have the first one is the one who created all. So she is really the one who is Sonya.
And if I remember correctly, Liz was originally a dancer.
Dancer gymnast. She was really flexible and aerobic instructor, and I picked her to be in Mortal Kombat because she looked. When you look at the old videos, she looks like she can fight. You know what I mean? She's in really good shape. She's not like just like a regular model or anything like that. She is like, when you see her, when you teach her the kicks and stuff, she made it look like she can fight.
Yeah, she actually had that presence,
Yeah,
about her.
yeah, yeah.
With a normal model, it would probably look flimsy, but Liz was actually able to pull it off because she had that presence about her.
Yeah, I think it's right. I don't think it's like flimsy, but it's just that personality. Tony always, Marquez, Kung Lao always says personality in the pixels. He was like the people in the first game really, and the second game really had like that. When you see them move, there's something about their movement. They just projected this aura of energy. So I think it's very true when you know, when you're when we were doing that, that part came across really well.
Hmm. What interested you in acting in video games back in the 90s?
Man, I was just like, I wasn't even like really interested in that. And, just the opportunities happen. And I thought, oh, it'd be cool to do that. Oh, it'd be cool to do this. Especially the Mortal Kombat project, when John was just like, oh, I need help creating it. I was like, oh, cool. So it wasn't just like, oh, I'm just going to step in to do it. Being there from the being one of the first ones to know about that game is so exciting. Being able to go up and talk to Ed Boon and try to sell him the idea of Mortal Kombat was really really exciting. Good memory, even though he said no. But later on he said yes. So it went on to do things and creating the game and doing all of these things, getting solving problems to create the games. There, like I said, there's really a lot of things that happened that we made it was difficult, but it wasn't so difficult that it overcame us. We overcame the problems.
Mm. Could you ever see Mortal Kombat versus Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat versus Killer Instinct crossover game?
I would think would be, as a fan of gaming, I would think that's really cool. But I understand that everybody has their, the Street Fighter guys wouldn't want to get up with beat up by the Mortal Kombat guys, or the Mortal Kombat guys wouldn't want to get beat up by the Killer Instinct guys, because it's in the end, it's those games are about money. So they don't want to show that they're weaker than the other thing. But if a fan ever did that, that'd be a cool thing to really do, because I don't think the companies would ever come together and do that.
Who would you like to see portray Johnny Cage in a Mortal Kombat movie?
In a Mortal Kombat movie, who would I like to portray me? Huh? Never really thought about that. That's a good question. Man, I'd really have to think probably what's his name? Jason Statham from the Transporter, right? Is
Yeah,
it? Yeah, I would.
Expendables.
Yeah, yeah. I'd like. He's. I would like to see maybe him because he knows martial arts. You
Hmm.
know. You know what I mean? He's gritty. He's got the wrong accent, but it's okay. You know.
I'm sure
Look.
he could pull off an American accent.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Well, they gave Kano an Australian accent, even though the book, the original, says he's American and Japanese. You know. So the. You know. So if people can accept Kano being Australian, then for sure they could. You know, yes, go yes for Jason. So yeah, I would put my vote in for him.
Do you have any of the original costumes from the
I have
first?
a few of the original pieces, a few left. You know, I have I have the shoes worn first ever recording, first you know, everybody has their favorite character, but if you have
Hmm.
the first you have the first piece of Mortal Kombat.
Hmm.
You know, sure, the next pieces that you would have to get would be John Tobias's dad's camera or uh, the shorts. I have the sash too from Johnny Cage. You know, this is the first piece. So it's not like, you know, Scorpion's mask is awesome. Some museum has that now. But you know, Scorpion is the fourth character. So we're talking about the first piece of first. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah,
still have
like the whole
so,
Portrayal.
sash and the sash. So I have two of the first, and in my opinion, because you can't beat that. That's the first character, first used of filming, first of everything. You know. So I
Yeah,
have yeah, I have that, and I have Raiden's sash because
yeah.
Raiden's sash was actually my black sash from Seven Star Praying Mantis that I lent. Uh, we needed a sash, and I was just like, well, I have one, and so John was like, okay, let's use that.
Yeah, basically what Carlos wore
So
was like it looked like a regular white karate gi and pants and like laceless tennis shoes with white wrappings and the black sash and
actually, yeah,
the really.
actually, it's a Taekwondo hat, Taekwondo uniform. It was a
Hmm.
Taekwondo uniform, and John took off. Was he took the pants were breakdancing. Breakdancing,
Oh,
he used to bench his legs so that way he wouldn't trip. So he used that actually for the costume. And the white shoes were white shoes back in those days were all white. Yeah, that stuff is cool. That stuff is cool. And I know Rich has something. Has some stuff too. So the order that we filmed in or created the game was Johnny Cage, then Kano, then Raiden, then a little bit of Scorpion and Sub Zero. Then we went to Sonya. Then we went back to Scorpion and Sub Zero. Then we went to Liu Kang, and then back and forth in between them with all of us. That's the
yeah,
basic filming process.
yeah. Did you have to do anything different for when you were doing Reptile, or were those just reused sprite animations, just a different color?
Well, when you know we while we were creating Sub Zero, you know, to add to Scorpion, just like he's like, you know what? He's like, can you create more characters? Because just in case there's time, because originally I think he wanted 9 characters or something crazy like that
Hmm.
in the first game, but there's just not enough time because we didn't know what we were doing. Um, so he was just like, you know, he was just like, can you do enough for another couple of Lin Kuei, you know, another couple of ninjas? So I was like, I did a bunch of different fighting postures and think for more Lin Kuei or people who were dressed like Lin Kuei.
Hmm. And of course, Reptile would have to move faster because technically he's not human, and reptiles are known to move faster than humans.
Yeah, yeah. When I gave Reptile his acid spit, I was thinking of I was a fan of the cartoon anime Amazing Spider-Man, and when
Hmm.
he fought the professor in the swamp that turned himself into a lizard, the lizard,
Hmm.
when they were like, "Oh, he's a reptile," I was like, "Oh, we should make him the lizard," and he should spit green acid at you, like in Spider-Man. Amazing Spider-Man. And John's like, okay, we're gonna do that.
Was that
So
also the inspiration for Reptile's fatality?
Yeah.
What forms of martial arts have you studied?
Man, I've studied a lot and continue to study. I studied back in the day, 1969. I started out with judo. I did some Shotokan karate. I did some Japanese jiu-jitsu. Then I went to kung fu, did Luho Bafa with Wei Lun Choi, a famous instructor who taught Dan and Asano. And then I did seven-star praying mantis. Then I trained in China. And so I really a lot. My favorite external martial art, like physically, not physically. How can you? Hard style martial arts are like Fan Sichuan, Piqua, Tung Bei, and uh, and my internal martial arts. I really enjoy Bagua, and I teach a lot of Chen Tai Chi. It seems like a lot of the Aikido, Hapkido guys like the Chen style Tai Chi. So I teach a lot of that.
Um, did you actually help Carlos explain like the various forms of martial arts, like for when he did the videos for Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance? I think it was like he would talk
We
about like
talked about that again because I taught my brother martial arts, so I'm his instructor or whatever. It's the same thing with Rich and Rich. I taught him martial arts too. So we tried to do that. My brother's artist, so he's got like a dual role. I think at one point he doing the graphics and doing the martial arts. But yeah,
well, I think yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah, that's all the questions I have. Thank you for doing
uh,
interview, Mr. Pesina.
yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Thank you for having me, Brian, and thanks for hanging out with me on Twitch. It's always fun to see you there and talk a little bit about what's going on. You're always good. You're always reliable to help us out when we're talking about stuff. We're like mentioning a movie. You're always really cool about, hey, I remember that movie. It's this. Or, hey, the actor, man. Yeah. Even Kirsten is always saying, man, ask Brian because he knows what the heck he's talking about. He can pull it out just like out of a hat. So it's awesome being like, it's awesome too being a friend of yours. And thanks for having me on your channel, Lone Wolf Productions. Get over here. So thank you, and we'll stay in touch.
Gotta stop the recording right now.